Good morning and welcome to Writing 403, the second term of your capstone project. I'm so glad to be working with you again, and I'm just looking forward to seeing how your project develops this term. I'm just excited. You've just got great project ideas, and I'm just ready to see them really developed and finalized. And I want to see your pleasure in that as well. So the Writing 403 class is very simple in contrast with Writing 402 last term. There are only two tasks. The main task is to write your capstone. So the credits awarded for this work ensure that you have protected writing time to get the work done. So if you think about 3 credits, if each credit is 3 hours of work according to the Carnegie system, 3 hours a week would be 9 hours. And that's 9 hours of time that you should be working on your capstone. So you can really make something special. And the other component of the class is providing feedback to peer drafts. And 6 of the weeks of this term will be doing that work. And as the drafts get longer, it gets a little bit more cumbersome, but I think you'll enjoy seeing how these projects develop, and will feel kind of a sense of ownership like I do over them. Like someone goes off and publishes and you're like, I was part of that. I saw it when it started. So that's pretty fun. So anyway, that's the scope of the class. One thing you should know, especially since you've had me as an instructor before, and I'm not very deadline oriented, this class is deadline oriented because the bulk of the class is getting the work done. That's the point. Therefore, the deadlines associated with draft submission are firm. If they are missed, you get half credit. So just know that. You'll be surprised when it happens the first time, and hopefully it won't happen again. Anyway, I know that you're used to working with me in a different way, but this term, this is the point of the class, is to produce the work. So get it done on time. It's also particularly important for the feedback process to get the drafts posted so that your peers have an opportunity to review them. And it's just respectful to get them in a timely way so they can do their work. So the work of the class is divided into 3. You're all divided into 3 groups, and there's 4 to 6 people per group. And the groups determine the deadlines. So the way this worked is when I looked at the capstone plan, I had a sense of how much of the work was ready to go. And that helped me sort of determine if you're group 1, you're going first. You'll be first in the first go round and first in the second go round. And the advantage of that, of course, is that you'll have feedback early and can get the work done a little bit faster if that's your choice. The second, there's group 2 and group 3. And if you're in group 2 or 3, the only reason I assigned you there is because I thought you might need just a little bit more time to produce drafts. You may know that the students who are working in creative writing are many of them using drafts that were produced elsewhere. So they had drafts ready to go at the end of last term, and they are currently ready to go with those drafts. So it was really easy to put them first. If you had a capstone plan that was an option 2, I think it was outline, then again, you need just a little bit more time to get your draft ready for productive feedback. And there are 2 people in this class who are doing empirical research this term, and it will just take them a little longer than others to get that part of their writing ready to go. So again, those are the considerations that enabled me to produce the groups that I did. And when you go into the week 1 module, you'll see an Excel spreadsheet. You'll see in the spreadsheet your name, your type of project, your group number, and also the rubric that I'll use to score the final project. I think the rubrics that are kind of generic rubrics for poetry or fiction or analysis are going to work fine for most of you. So they're already ready to go. They're in the capstone project assignment. There's a couple of you, Caitlin and Justice, that I'll probably need to produce new rubrics for, especially for your project. And I will need to do that in conversation with you. So I'll be getting in touch with you by email with a draft rubric. You can let me know if it looks like it will work, and we'll go from there. So the bulk of the score for this class is 700 points of the capstone project. And I will award those points based on the week 10 draft of the capstone. Of course, once the capstone is scored, you can do some revision if you like to get the points where you want it to be. It's a little terrifying to have so much of the course grade be undecided until week 10. But I hope that as you submit the drafts of your capstone project, you'll feel increasingly confident. You'll have my feedback, you'll have peer feedback, and you'll have the rubric to work with. Usually when I provide feedback on the second submission for peer feedback, I usually use the rubric at that point to kind of indicate how things are going, so that you should know probably by at least week 7 what the capstone project score is starting to look like. But just know that again, you know me, you've worked with me. If there's something else you want to do after you've had the project scored, I am totally willing to let you do that, so that you can get the grade you want to get in this class. Okay, the last thing I want to mention right now is that some of you were in the market for a face-to-face capstone class. So this is not it, thanks COVID. But if you or your online peers are interested in having a Zoom meeting once in a while, I kind of envision it as just an opportunity to get together and maybe socialize, or like talk about projects that were really catching our attention, or ask questions about the class or about the feedback. If you'd like to do that once in a while, I'm very happy to schedule a Zoom meeting. Maybe we could meet once a month or something like that. So I've created a survey just to ask you if you do want to Zoom, and to suggest a few potential times. Your response to the times may suggest whether or not it's even worth meeting. You and I can always Zoom individually. Just sign up using my You Can Book Me website for the time that works for you. But if you'd like to have a class meeting, we can do that. And if if 8 p.m. at night is like the time that works best for everyone, that's fine. I'm a little exhausted by that time. I'm definitely a morning person, not an evening person, but we could consider it like grab a cup of tea, grab a dessert, get together, have a little conversation, chit chat, and then go on with our lives. So if you wouldn't mind completing the Zoom survey, that would be great. And then I'll know what to suggest for that kind of a meeting. I think what I'm going to do just quickly is share my screen and just show you what the Canvas course looks like. Right, so here we are at the welcome announcement. So let me see if I can do this with the student view. Whoops. Well, I should have been prepared for this moment, but I'm not. So, okay, so I'm setting up the student view. So this is hopefully what the Canvas shell looks like to you. The syllabus and deadlines for drafts are here. You are welcome to take a look at it. The modules are here. They're the best way to orient toward the weekly work. Each week has a set of instructions. Again, they're very simple. Wow, I'm not sure why this is not working. Let me just refresh. There we go. Okay, so there's some instructions here. There's some links here. Each week we'll have a set of instructions. As I said, they're very simple. Once we get into the weeks where we're submitting drafts, the only thing to do is submit the draft, right? You either, if you're in the group that's on for peer feedback the following week, you'll submit your draft to the discussion board. If you are not, you'll submit your draft just to an assignment area. And all that does is act as a deadline. I want you to get the work done. So each draft should have like the first draft will be whatever it is by the end of week 2. But after that, each week, all I'll be looking for is that you're adding or making significant revisions to the draft, and that will get you draft credit. If you are posting it to the discussion board, again, all you have to do to get the credit is get it posted by the deadline, so that it's ready for your peers to give feedback. And then the following week, peers who are not in that group, or you'll be able to give feedback each week to people who are not you, obviously. And so you'll be looking for 2 drafts to give feedback to each of the 6 weeks when we're doing peer feedback starting week 3. And the kind of feedback I'm looking for has to do with the genre of the text. So if it's poetry, right, we're not going to talk about thesis. So you'll see that there is a link to capstone rubrics. Good grief. Come on. There we go. Okay, so here are the developed rubrics that I have. As I said, there's 2 students for whom I need to develop a rubric. If it's poetry, you're looking for the poetry rubric. I don't want you to score it, but you can use the rubric to give feedback that may help the student move toward meeting the expectations in the rubric. So if it's poetry, you'll be giving feedback that has to do with, how's the content? How is the use of poetic techniques? What could be done better in those categories? If it's multi-genre, a creative multi-genre, that means it's probably both prose and poetry. So again, that would be the rubric for that. If it's analysis like literary analysis or scholarship associated to teaching English language learners, or if it's another kind of analysis where someone's making an argument, that's the rubric. If it's the 2 empirical research projects, I'm thinking this rubric will be best. As we move toward the middle of the term, there may be additional expectations attached to related to their audience, right? So if they're writing the information for a school district, then maybe we'll be trying to think about how that empirical research will be best presented to that audience. So those are the kinds of things I'd like you to do. I think you can do a kind of page by page set of feedback within the genres, right? So either you'll be making comments that are paragraph by paragraph kinds of comments, or you can put your comments as embedded comments in a copy of the draft. I am expecting page by page feedback, but not grammar feedback, if that makes sense, right? So I want you to look at each page. I want you to get a sense of whether, like, is stuff working for you as a reader? Is it pleasing you? Is it meeting genre expectations? Where are the places where those things might be improved? Where are the places where things are working? So I really want you to do a detailed kind of feedback. And like I said, once the drafts get long, it'll be harder. But if you've made feedback before on the earlier draft and you just want to do the new material in the second go around, then that'll be fine as well. Okay, so all of the assignments are also provided in the assignments area. Right, you can see draft feedback deadlines, draft feedback, project deadlines, capstone project. Those are the only things for which you're getting scored. So it's, again, really simple. The discussions are all there. If you want to take a look at grades, I'll be updating that hopefully every week. And you can take a look at, what your grade looks like. And if you have any questions as we move forward, just contact me. The Canvas inbox is the best way to get my attention. Email is always a little bit dicey, so just know that. And then, yeah, I think that's probably all I need to say for now. If you have any questions at all, just send me a Canvas inbox message, you can book me slot in my schedule and we'll get together by phone or Zoom, or we can even do Google Chat if that's easier for you. You want to just chat live, that's fine, just reserve a time. I am so looking forward to working with you again this term, and I hope you're having a happy new year already and that 2021 is better than 2020. Take care.